Welcome back to GAA Fan TV. My name is Aaron. I'm delighted to be joined here by John McMahon from the JMac podcast. We're going to be running through all the managerial madness that seems to be going on at the minute. It was only even a couple of hours before going live that we've heard that the Westmeath manager, Jack Cooney, has since stepped away from his role. So it's ever so changing. There's absolute chaos left, right and centre in regards to managerial appointments. So we'll be sure to get into it. Just a reminder, we're brought to you by Declan Kirby GAA Star, the best children's GAA book out there in the market at the minute. You can find it on Amazon, Easons, all good bookshops as well. So make sure to check it out in the description down below when you get a chance. Apologies for the short delay there. Just, I suppose the internet seems to have gone down all over Cavan or something like that. What have you been doing, John? Jesus, have you been out like just sabotaging everyone's internet or what?
Oh, my man, apologies for the delay, my man. Yeah, internet breakdown here in Cavan. We'll get abused for not paying it probably, but it's a pleasure to be on, my man. It's been a while. We're in August and there's no kind of, obviously, football to talk about, games or that, but like there's lots happening in the as you rightly said there, managerial merry-go-round and bits like that. So, yeah, lots happening outside the game. But yeah, no, it's funny, obviously all the kind of club action happening, but like it nearly, as I said to probably numerous times, it kind of sits uneasy with me at times that the county kind of is over and there's not much to look forward to maybe on a Monday morning when you wake up after an unbelievable bit of action on a Sunday night or a Saturday afternoon as well. But look, yeah, lots going on outside of that, Aaron.
Yeah, like as you said there, like it is unusual. Like usually around this time of the year, you'd have your All-Ireland semi-finals, you'd sort of be building up maybe to the All-Ireland hurling final. Like, it is very unusual, as you said, to have an August where, there is no, inter-county games or whatever. It's kind of just sort of the start of a lot of club championships. But I suppose we'll start with Tomas O'Shea, who's obviously gone in to the Kerry under-20s. An interesting appointment, I suppose, in many ways. We've obviously seen him very involved with Offaly in the last couple of seasons, and Kerry reached the All-Ireland under-20 semi-finals last year. So obviously new manager coming in, new man coming in, Tomas O'Shea, I suppose a man who very much knows Kerry as much as anyone, having played there for numerous years, won All-Irelands, all the rest. And like this seems like a very smart appointment, I think, like, because obviously Jack O'Connor, who came in last year, like, he probably is getting to the tail end of his managerial career. Like, he's probably maybe got 3-4 years max. Like, I doubt he's going to be doing 10 years around like that, or maybe he's going to outlive all of us. I don't really know, but Tomas O'Shea going in there sort of as the heir to the throne in many ways is kind of the feeling I'm getting of it.
Yeah, no, I just think even for the betterment of Kerry football, I think Tomas O'Shea coming in as manager, like that's, you can't get much better than that. Like, a man who had an unbelievable kind of career with the Kerry senior footballers when he was playing. And that obviously means that he's stepping away from the Offaly role. I think he obviously done a good year with, I can't think of his name. Who was the Offaly manager last year? Gone in?
John Mon.
John Mon, yeah. So obviously Tomas would have, learned a few bits obviously off John, and obviously from being involved with the Offaly lads. So no, look, I think for the betterment and future of Kerry football, it's it's some appointment. I believe Brian Sheehan's gone in there as well as a coach, and it's a star-studded backroom team that he's bringing along with him as well. So look, Tomas, he'll be a great man to be in charge of that Kerry underage team. It's probably a frightening prospect for a lot of people as well, because we know about the success he had as a player. Kerry could be turning a serious wave now, especially after winning the All-Ireland this year. Probably much to the test, I'd say, Aaron, at the same time. But I just think it's a serious move by the Kerry lads. It's a smart move by the Kerry County Board. And Tomas is going. I think Tomas is dead right to do it as well, because I know obviously he had that bit of experience with the Offaly senior footballers, but I just think to earn your stripes and climb the ladder of GA coaching and management bits and pieces, I think it's a great move by Tomas, and I think Kerry's going to benefit from it. Tomas is going to benefit from it, and no doubt the Kerry underage, it'll be a fruitful year for them next year, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and I suppose like we've all seen him obviously on the Sunday game, and I think I've said to you before as well, like I think he's probably one of the best pundits out there. When he's a straight shooter, he very much calls it as it is, and even from listening to him on his own podcast and everything else, and some other podcasts he's been on and everything else, he's openly said he much prefers management and punditry, like, and
which is odd.
You know.
It's funny because I think he done that podcast with Joe Brawley there a couple of weeks ago, like, and he was actually quite outlandish. Like, he kind of said, like, that punditry or whatever kind of drives him mad. Maybe he seems like a bit of a restless character, or obviously kind of likes better himself. And we did, in fairness, do the RTE punditry until he when he did finish up with the Kerry senior footballers afterwards in 2013. So he did get a good bite at it. Must have got fed up, and now he wants to kind of get his teeth into coaching. But in fairness, it's a pity he didn't kind of obviously did give up the punditry, because he was an excellent pundit, and he, as you rightly said there, he did say it as it is.
Yeah, it's mad actually, and just thinking of that as well, like with Tomas O'Shea, obviously he was heavily involved with RTE. Like, I don't know what it is with RTE pundits and pundits in general going into management, like, because you've Kevin McStay, who's obviously going into Mayo, Conor O'Rourke's going into Meath. Even look at the hurling, like Michael Donoghue, Davy Fitz, both involved with RTE last couple of seasons. They've taken into county management roles this year as well. Obviously, Pat Spillan's retired, but I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe there must be a referral fee or something for RTE, like, for referring these managers in. Like, they must get an L commission or something, like.
Yeah. No, these boys are cute. These boys weren't brought up in the last year anyway. And in fairness, as I was probably saying to you in the group chat there a couple of days ago, for a lot of the lads that probably have got these jobs, it probably was high time. Kevin McStay probably did get the Mayo job after trying so many times. You look at Colin O'Rourke, them two boys for them two counties, it's probably well overdue. Obviously, Davy Fitz going back to obviously manage the Waterford Hurlers, and now obviously Tomas. But I think, in fairness, I'd say the Kerry, Tomas he was that good of a footballer. He was always going to be probably offered some underage job with the Kerry football, minors, under 20s senior team. He was always, and look, the future probably holds. He'll get involved with the senior team now in a couple of years, no doubt. This is obviously just a step towards that ladder. But you're dead right. All these pundits definitely seem to be getting jobs, and I suppose it seems to be the only way RTE can probably get rid of something.
Yeah, maybe just showing them the exit door or whatever. But you mentioned Kevin McStay and Mayo, like, and that was an interesting appointment, all right. And it was kind of similar to the Colin O'Rourke one in some ways, because it did probably catch people by surprise in some respects, given the fact that Kevin McStay has been linked with Mayo on numerous times before. Like, he's been fairly open. I think it was just before Pat Holmes and Noel Kennelly went in as joint managers of Mayo. Like, he was in the running for that job as well, and obviously didn't get the job. And now he's obviously gone in again. And I mean, he's got a star-studded backroom team as well, like Stephen Rochford in there, which is interesting, like, considering that Rochford was a senior manager. Now he's going to be the second-hand man, if you like.
Back for more punishment. Yeah.
But
it's great. In fairness, and Hughes was saying the other day, like, the fact he did manage someone, they didn't get over the line in the All-Irelands, and he's kind of come back. So obviously Rochford sees something there that the rest of us don't. But in fairness, look, it's a ballsy move by him, because that other coaching ticket of Ray Dempsey, Oisin McConville, Keith Higgins. From a Mayo point of view, you nearly have to be glad that McStay did get it, because you've Rochford, you McHale. I just think I know Keith Higgins would have been great with Ray Dempsey, but I think if Oisin McConville was to go in, I'm just not sure what he'd add. So I think the right coaching ticket did get it, and Kevin McStay with Mayo, God knows what could happen.
Is he the man to end the famine?
Oh, I did see your video the other day. I had a good laugh at it. I think that's a pure another clickbait. Please come on. Let's see what reaction I can get. You're at the run out, but look, is he the man? I think you gave a prediction of 2025, was it? Give him 3 years and then he might get lucky. But look, it's a work in progress. It'll not be instant. It'll be very interesting to see if the likes of Aidan O'Shea and Lee Keegan and some of the elder statement do stay on. I think if McStay can at least get another year or two out of them boys, they could be thereabouts. But it'll be very, very tough. But look, if Kevin McStay, you see what he done with the Roscommon lads, like he takes no SHITE. So Aaron, it could be a very interesting couple of years for the Mayo lads.
Yeah, like obviously, I was kind of putting my neck on the line. I didn't want to be somewhere in between when I was kind of saying, I didn't want to say like, oh, maybe they'll win it. Do you know that way? Like, it was like, I'll put my neck on the line for a crack and see what happens. Plenty of abuse in the comments anyway. So
I would imagine so.
Great to see it. Like, like it's kind of funny when you're talking about Mayo. If you criticize them, you get abuse from the Mayo supporters, and then if you praise them too much, you get abuse from everyone else. It's kind of funny sometimes, but in all seriousness, though, I do think they do have a great chance, though. Like, I don't think they're a million miles away. Like, I know, as you said, like with Keegan getting older, maybe the O'Sheas. I think realistically, like it's probably time for Aidan O'Shea maybe to sort of be a bit more of an impact sub or something of that nature. Like I don't really know. Like, you know, I just think if you keep starting them over and over and over again, hope for the best. Like it's a definition of insanity. Like expecting different results. Like, but they do have a good squad, good players. You know, O'Donoghue, Conroy coming back from injury.
O'Connor to come, or
Yeah, you know, and another year for O'Connor recovering from his injuries, I said before, and then even, you know, as you were saying with McStay and what he's done with Roscommon, obviously winning a Connacht title, like it does seem like a very good appointment, and maybe it's probably the last chance for, you know, that generation of players that probably came through under James Horn and sort of 2012-esque, you know, to maybe go on and do something, but it's going to be a rebuilding job. It's going to be interesting to see how long he is there as well. You know, like because you know, is he going to be there long term? Is it short term? I'm not sure, but it's going to be an interesting one nonetheless. Like,
yeah, no, definitely. And I think bringing the likes of Kevin McStay in as well, I think it kind of does cry out that, you know, I think it'll not be overnight. I think it will take a bit of time to get into, you know, get used to his tactics, get used to Kevin as a man. We know, as you said in the podcast the other day, that he has an absolutely huge growth for football. So I think it will take time. I know the Mayo fans can get a bit impatient at times, but it's a project. He has the right men with him. Lee McHale, God, one of the best Mayo footballers to ever do it. Obviously, Rossford he's a great brain for the game. So the right men's in place. I don't think it'll be just sharp, quick like that. It will be a process. And I think one, you know, something Mayo fans should really be happy with, because obviously after James Horn leaving, you're kind of thinking, God, who's going to replace the man? Big shoes to fill. I really do think it's probably the best Mayo lads could have hoped, or the Mayo supporters, and Mayo fans. It's the really, you know, it's the best they really could have hoped for, because, you know, out there at the minute, there's not a whole pile of a pick.
Yeah, like, and I know obviously like plenty of even in the comments of that video as well, and even, you know, from looking online and speaking to a lot of Mayo fans, like a lot of them were, I suppose, probably more so looking for an outside man. You know, maybe obviously McGuinness, Jim Gavin. I think those targets were probably very unrealistic. But you know, people were talking about naming Fitzmaurice or someone of that nature who maybe might have been a bit more realistic, and you know, maybe an outside man would go in, you know, like and fix all this, you know, so-called internal problems that have been in there. Whether there's been so much internal problems, I don't know. I think there have been internal problems probably in the past, but whether they're still there. But what do you think? Are they right to stick inside, or should they maybe have gone for an outside man?
Yeah, no, it's funny you say that, because I think Fitzmaurice kind of has said that he would only manage Kerry. So I think that'd be his take on it. Don't get me wrong, Fitzmaurice is as cute as they come, so he could be involved in any county setup. He could probably take his pick, but that's the word that I heard from the horse's mouth, that he would only be interested in being involved in Kerry football. Jim McGuinness, I think he just looks like he's following the soccer dream. How fruitful that is for him at the minute, I'm not sure, but obviously the dough coming from it seems to be very good. Jim Gavin, I think Jim has had his like, I think, look, the success he had with the Dublin lads, I think that'll never be repeated again. I think if he was to step into another intercounty ticket, manage another team, probably wouldn't be the same. The pressure would be too high, because I'd say Gavin's probably doing a bit with his club, and I'd say that'd be his work done. And God, I think he owes nothing to anybody. So 3 unbelievable men you'd love to have involved in any county team. But yeah, I think look, if they are chasing that Sam Maguire dream, I think internally, I think they were absolutely bang on. I think Rossford must have a plan up his sleeve this time to, you know, finally get the lads over the line after God, all these years, and bringing them in, and obviously Kevin McStay. Like, so look, the right men are in place. Kieran McDonald, he'll be gone now. Obviously, he was part of Horn's backroom team, but yeah, look, I think they're dead right. It probably is, like as you rightly said, probably the last hurrah for a lot of them Mayo lads. But it could even be like, this could be the one final. Like, Christ, I know there's been a lot of pushes now in the last couple of years, but this has to be the one final push from this management team, this group of players. Because look, if it doesn't happen with this management team, I don't know what Mayo needs to do to go up the steps off the Hogan stand.
Yeah, I mean, like, I suppose like what you were saying with Jim Gavin, like I think maybe he might come back to manage Dublin. That's me being hopeful at some point further down the line. But yeah, like I do agree with you. And as you said there as well, like, I mean, like they obviously have like with James Horn, he did introduce a lot of sort of under 20 footballers in the last kind of couple of seasons, and some of them have been very good, in fairness. Like, so I don't really know like what's going to happen there. There will probably be a bit of a transition over the next couple of seasons. Alan says here, I didn't want Kevin, but having Stephen Rochford as a backroom team is not good. So there you go. Like, I suppose it's been interesting. All right, there has been, I have seen a lot of Mayo fans happy with the decision, but there's been plenty of Mayo fans that probably aren't.
It's hard to keep everyone happy too, Aaron. But like, it's all well and good. Like, if these men bring the Sam home to Mayo, will Tom, Dick, and Harry be given out? I'm not too sure, but look, I suppose I can understand probably maybe from the Rocher point of view, because the fact he didn't get Mayo over the line that time, all them them couple of years ago. But who knows? Things might change this time.
Yeah, like, and as you said, like, it's one of them where, especially with the Mayo management role, like, because of, obviously, as you said, all the All-Ireland finals, all the heartbreak, it's so hard to make them happy, I suppose, after all they've probably gone through in the last couple of seasons. We were mentioning Kevin McStay and his previous management employers in Roscommon. They're obviously looking for a managerial role, and I mean, they haven't. It's kind of been all silence really in the county. Like, you haven't really heard anything come out. But
a lot of silence.
I've heard James Horan sort of been a man who's been linked here or there about potentially going to Roscommon. I mean, it'd be an interesting one, him going there. I don't know, like,
but even Horan's tactics, like, would Horan's tactics suit that Roscommon team? Like, I'm not sure. Obviously, Horan was kind of known for that kind of, is a defensive kind of football to a degree. I'm just not sure his tactics would suit that Roscommon forward line. So I'm not sure. It's hard to know James Horan, like, would he want to get involved with another county that's not Mayo? The commitment of it all. He was involved with Mayo football for so damn long. Like, look at Horan. He could just jump back into Sky Sports, do a bit of punditry for them. I just think Horan might take the year out, because I think, Aaron, look, like, it's funny, like, we did like a break from the GAA times, because obviously yourself and like me doing these podcasts, like, to have a week or two off after the All-Ireland final, it probably does the world of good. But a bit of a break for football for Horan, I'd say he'd probably manage some club team or get involved with his own club. I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure with Roscommon, as much as maybe Roscommon fans would love that.
Yeah, like, and to be honest, like, I was fairly surprised Anthony Cunningham stepped away. I know he's been there, quite a couple of years, and maybe you would say it went a little bit sour towards the end, but I just don't know, like, who else really is the obvious candidate. Like, he still won a Connacht title. Like, fair enough, they had that disaster against Clare, obviously in the qualifiers, and they've had an awful record at Croke Park in the All-Ireland Championship in the last, Jesus, God knows how many years. But like, what were your thoughts on Cunningham stepping down as Roscommon manager? Like, it did surprise a lot of people. Maybe for some people that also say, well, look, maybe it's time for fresh ideas.
Yeah, like, I think it maybe does refer back to this point, and it's all well and good, maybe the likes of us or people tweeting or putting stuff up online about, sure, Cunningham done this, X, Y, or Z. It probably does keep boiling back down to the fact, Darren, and fair play to any manager doing it at the minute, it is very, very much time consuming. And I know a lot of people talking about the expenses and maybe the few bob you get, but look, I was only talking to, was it Marty Curry, the former Cavan coach there a couple of weeks ago, and he was just telling me he was part of the backroom team, and the time that goes into it, the off-pitch analysis, the on-pitch analysis, video analysis, like, your family might not even get a look in the time. So I just think for a lot of men, it does, and like, no matter what stage you are at life, it does seem to be very much time consuming. And I just think it seems to be going the way that a lot of men might just be happy to be doing the bit of media work for your off the balls, your any podcasts out there, RTE, Sky Sports, BBC. That seems to be the more fruitful avenue to go down. Give your opinion on a Sunday, give your opinion on a Friday, Saturday, whatever. Whatever day of the week. And I really think that's the avenue a lot of men seem to be seeking. It just seems to be the time going into it, Aaron, and a lot of lads just can't seem to do it unless you're going to be winning a Connacht title, an Ulster Championship, a Munster Championship, Leinster, All-Ireland, whatever it may be, Aaron. If you're not going to be winning any of them top honours, it looks like it's a waste of time.
Yeah, it is a huge commitment.
Well, sorry, no, not a waste of time, but sorry. Like, it's very much time consuming if you're not getting the top honours.
Yeah. Well, I suppose, like, with the Tailteann Cup obviously coming in, that does, I think, give more sort of more opportunities for them sort of counties if they can build. Like, you look at a county like Sligo getting to the semi-finals for example, probably should have beaten yourselves, but didn't on the day. There is room for optimism there. Like, like when you do kind of look back at it. But Gary says, or Gavin says here, Pat Flanagan was also mentioned for the Roscommon job, and like he's done. I think he's the manager of Padraig Pearce's, who's won a couple of
you're right,
county titles and won the Conor Club Championship last year. So I suppose like he would be the obvious candidate there, wouldn't he? Like given what he's done with Padraig Pearce's. I have heard he's been linked with Longford as well. But I think if you're choosing between Roscommon and Longford, like I think,
and even Billy O'Loughlin stepping down from Longford, I couldn't really understand that, because like I had him on a pod there a couple of months ago, and Christ, he looked. I think it's work commitments that has ruled himself out of that job, or that's why he had to step down. But God, no, he looked like he was all guns blazing for that job. It's a pity, but again, Aaron, it keeps pointing back down to the fact a lot of these boys don't have time to do it.
Yeah, but things can change so quickly though as well. Like, and obviously because it's an amateur sport, like, I mean, a lot of these, I know some managers might be getting, a nice bit of quid, but a lot of them probably aren't at the same time, or probably aren't maybe being looked after. So like, I think if you get a lovely job, maybe in your personal life, like you're probably more inclined to take it and then leave, what you had in the past,
But it keeps referring back to this point. Like, if you have a nice little number outside of football and the likes of Off the Ball ring you, RTE ring you, Sky Sports, anyone at all, BBC, as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, that, and I know I'm putting blue in the face saying that seems to be the more fruitful avenue for a lot of, like the likes of Oisin McConville there. Like, I know he's been mentioned part of that Mayo coaching ticket, he was mentioned for the Monaghan job, but that man looks happy out to be doing what he's doing. It's a nice few quid. You get to go to all the games, you get to talk about all the games, and you're not involved in the inter-county circus to a degree, Aaron, at the best times.
Yeah, and I suppose like when you look at some managerial, managers who've actually left their roles, and like it just only in the last couple of days that probably do reaffirm that point as well. Like Billy Lee leaving Limerick was one.
I don't understand that either. Yeah.
Considering, like, obviously he's been there. I think he's been there like 5 or 6 years, or he was there 5 or 6 years.
Really stability.
Yeah, took them over in Division 4, brought them all the way up to Division 2. But I suppose like it's one of them things, you never know what's going on in someone's personal life, obviously, and you just don't know like what can be going on sometimes. But to get them up to Division 2, and obviously Limerick is a county, they have a lot of resources, obviously, thanks to JP McManus, and obviously they have their own academy down there. And
if Limerick's looking for two managers, me and you, as long as the travel expenses are sorted, so as someone said to me the other day, get the helicopter sorted.
Yeah, I think a helicopter there would be the safest bet, to be honest, because I think going into Limerick, you mightn't make it out of there. To be honest,
it's a beautiful spot. It was at a wedding there a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it actually is. Like, to be fair, Limerick actually gets a bad.
It gets a
rap,
toast,
I think.
Yeah,
when actually it's actually a fairly lovely county, and people there are very nice as well.
I agree with all that. No, I was just referring to that, Aaron. I was absolutely shocked with Billy Lee. I couldn't believe it. A word on the street is players wanted him out, which I couldn't really understand either, because like if he's had such success in the last couple of years and brought Limerick up tenfold as a footballing county, I couldn't really understand maybe if there was a falling out. Is it, see, we don't know, Aaron, like obviously with Billy hasn't released a statement, or there hasn't been much murmurs, but the murmurs I've got is the players wanted him out, so I don't know if anyone can fill us in about that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I know Danny Neville opted out last year.
I thought you were going to say Gary Neville there.
Gary Neville, yeah. Gary Neville coming back, from punditry. He's sticking his hat in with Limerick.
This is Manchester United.
Yeah. This is Limerick. But yeah, no, like Danny Neville. Anyway, like he was a good footballer, to be fair. Like, and he opted out last year, and you don't know why. Like, sometimes when players opt out, so. Could have that something have got to do with it? Like, I did see Ian Corbett's tweet, like, and obviously he was wishing him well and saying, Limerick is in, so much a better position now, like, given the fact that he was manager there. Like, the stuff I suppose you'd expect to hear, though, like, like players are hardly going to go on Twitter and start going, mental at the manager. Although stranger things have happened in the past, but as you said there, like, it is a strange one, and it's. It's hard to know really who would be the manager that would go in there. I'm sure Limerick do have some enticements there, maybe to get a big name in, and I know, like, I've seen on Twitter like a few people mentioning Paul Conor as a potential candidate, although like he's been the second-hand man to John Coyley with the Limerick Hurlers, but he actually was previously a Limerick footballer, and he has his own academy there, like that he kind of spearheads there. So I don't know, like, I mean, it's probably not a lot of
Yeah, the worrying thing from a Limerick footballing point of view, they've made absolutely unbelievable strides. The one thing, and don't get me wrong, I know when a big figure like Billy Lee leaves, but Billy Lee, me and you, like, sang his praises all year on the podcast, your podcast, my podcast. I think standards might drop when that man, obviously, when he's not around next January, next February. So the replacement will need to be good. If not, Limerick football could go into serious decline again.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Like it's
like it's a strange one, all right. Like, and it is because it's going to be tough for them in Division 2 next year. Like, you would, I think everyone probably would say, like, they probably are going to be one of the favourites to get relegated, even though they've made great strides. Like, but Division 2 is going to be a minefield really next year. It's going to be very, very tough for them to get out of there. So, yeah, I mean, the mighty Dubs in there. Like, I mean, like Derry, Kildare.
It'll suit up to ground that next year too, big man. Like, because if you think about it, you'll walk Division 2, get the players' confidence up again, walk Leinster, and then Sam could be coming home in 2023.
Yeah, well, I suppose we'll stay on the topic of the Dubs then. Desi Farrell.
Why did he open my mouth? No.
yeah. Well, I suppose you kind of walked yourself into it there,
Of course it did, as usual.
We were going to go to Longford there because Jack in the comments there has given us a bit of breaking news. About a former Dublin man, actually, Paddy Christie, apparently new Longford manager. I haven't seen that being confirmed yet, but
that would be very interesting.
He is a Longford fan, to be fair. So I do trust you there, Jack, that you're giving us reliable information. But yeah, I mean, that would be an interesting appointment, wouldn't it?
It would. And Paddy Christie has done unbelievable work with the Tip lads. He's done unbelievable work with his club, Ballymun. Players would want to play for that man. He demands respect. He gets respect. He's a god in Ballymun GAA circles. Don't get me wrong, that probably hasn't a whole pile to do with Longford, but I think the Longford players would buy into what he's doing. That would be some appointment. But our good friend Jeremy Mass might be able to confirm that with us.
Yeah, if the breaking news could just slow down here for a few minutes, because Matthew Hurley's also saying here that Eamon Murray has stepped down as lead LGFA manager. So
Cavan man, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would have said he would have been a great man for your own county if if Mickey Graham didn't stay on there. But yeah, if the breaking news could just slow down for a minute here, just so we can keep the structure of the show. Like, just got news coming in left, right, and centre.
There's no structure to our show, Aaron.
I feel like it's transfer deadline day here, and there's things going on left, right, and centre. And I'm like,
me and you could replace Cammy and Jeff, is it? Or Cammy and is it Jeff Stelling and Cammy? Yeah, geez, that'll be some job. Yeah, Eamon Murray. God, if that's true, holy moly. Maybe the tides turn and Vicky Wall gone to Australia. That could be will be a huge loss for me, ladies, and maybe Eamon is saying to himself, the crack's over. That's
no, I mean, I wonder, like, if like maybe Eamon just wants to take a break or whatever, but I'd say he'd be a very sought after manager, to be honest. Like, I think there'll be a lot of senior teams in ladies football and men's football as well. Like, I think that would really be after his services, like, especially after you've seen what he done with the Meath ladies. Like, off the top of my head, I can't really. It's hard to know, like, where he'd go or what. There's probably no big jobs there off the top of my head. Maybe at Donegal, maybe even a Monaghan. He goes to Cavan's rivals. How about that?
Oh God, he wouldn't be welcome back into Cavan if he done that. No, no, it's a very interesting time with that. If that is true, and obviously Mr. Hurley's a very reliable man from Cork there. If that is true, I think he's probably. It might be offered a senior intercounty men's job, so it's interesting timing for Mr. Murray to do that. So we wish him well with his endeavours. Apparently, he's heading to Wicklow. Oh, okay.
Interesting. That is an interesting one because I know they lost their manager mid-season last year.
What was his name again? Yeah,
brought in new management halfway through the season. So yeah, that would be an interesting one, all right, but. I mean, look, when you've seen what he done with the Meath ladies, he went into a team that was, struggling to get out of intermediate level. Wicklow, many people would say, are Tailteann Cup standards. Could this be the moment that he goes into Wicklow, wins the Tailteann Cup, and then wins the All Ireland next year.
Jesus, holy moly. Big expectations there, my man. It'd be like Mick O'Dwyer back for Wicklow back in the good days. Look, that'd be huge ask. Even with Mr. Furlong retiring from the Wicklow full forward line. Christ, he destroyed us back last year. But it'd be a huge ask for Murray to go to Wicklow. But look, stranger things seem to be happening, but the timing of it with all the senior men's intercounty jobs going at the minute, I think Mr. Murray must be smelling another job.
Yeah. Well, either way, it'd be interesting certainly to see where he goes. Well, I suppose we were speaking about Dublin there, and then all of a sudden, all the breaking news just started coming in left, right, and centre, and kind of threw us off there. But I mean, Desi Farrell staying on as Dublin manager, I know it's kind of been discussed, and I put out my own video on it already, and a couple of people have kind of had their 2 cents on it, and it's. Like it probably is the right decision to keep him on. Given how we nearly beat Kerry. We were inches away from beating the eventual All Ireland champions, and there probably wasn't an obvious candidate out there in terms of within the county. But what do you think with Desi? I mean, 2 more years, obviously 2-year term. What do you reckon?
Yeah, we have to kind of keep remembering the fact, and this is probably the big point in this. If it's plain to be seen, if Conor Callum was playing against Kerry that day, Dublin were winning that game. I think that's the bottom line. They just needed that bit of extra quality up front. If Mr. Callum was playing, I think Farrell he does deserve it. I just think at the minute, as you've rightly said a couple of months ago, you wouldn't be too sure if the other candidates to step in if he was to go. I know there was a couple of candidates there a couple of weeks ago that was being talked about, but it just didn't really look like it was Declan Darcy. But he's gone to Leinster Rugby now, hasn't he? So I just don't think the replacements were going to be there. I think Desi does deserve it. We have to remember the fact he won the All-Ireland 2020. I know Mayo bet them in 2021 in the All-Ireland final. Oh God, there we go.
Geez, you're stirring it up here now in the comments. I mean, Jesus. We'll have to mute you now in a minute.
2022, Kerry beat them. So look, Dublin have been very, very damn close. They have won the All Ireland. Obviously, they won the Leinster title in the last couple of years. So look, I think Dublin will be there again next year. I think I've always said that stability is important in any walk of life, especially in sport. I think he definitely does deserve another 2 years. I think. This year the league didn't go well for Dublin, but I think the championship, they got their house in order once again. He looks like he has the players playing on his side. One thing I did hear, I think was that you said it, if Brian Fenton might be going traveling next year, is that you said that to me. So that's true. That could be a huge loss to the Dublin lads. But look, I think he deserves it. He's a Dublin legend. At the minute, there wasn't looking like there was going to be a good replacement. I still feel Kieran Whelan would be a good man to take on the Dubs, but that's all for the bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I did hear Brian Fenton was going traveling as well. I'm not too sure where I heard that, but yeah, I mean,
he's working too hard, it's it.
Oh yeah, especially man in the midfield, and obviously around Raheny as well. You probably don't blame him for leaving, really.
Oh, there we go.
I know. Raheny's a nice area. It's not too far from where I live, so I kind of. I know it's all right. Great players there. Kieran Whelan and Brian Howard. So good club there. They don't. Not as good as Whitehall are at the minute,
there must be something there at Whitehall. There must be something there. You keep mentioning them, so there must be thereabouts. But no, look, Desi. No, look, referring back to it, he does deserve that extra year. I just think it's all well and good. Get rid of him. And I know in the heat of the moment, I can be frustrated after Cavan games if we get bet in big games. I know you can be frustrated, and it's heat of the moment. 2 or 3 days later, you're thinking to yourself, right? Maybe it was a bit of an overreaction, or maybe things aren't as bad as they seem. I just think, look, see how they go. He's got 2 years. If things don't go right, maybe next year, maybe after next year. But look, it just didn't look like there was candidates there for this year, Aaron, or next year if he was going to go. But I just get this feeling. I think Kieran Whelan would be mighty for the Dubs because he's a Dublin legend. The players would love him. I'm amazed his name has not been thrown around for the Dublin job in the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, and it would keep up the trend, all right, of 40 pundits going into management. I mean, Kieran Whelan versus Colm O'Rourke on the sidelines. I mean, that would be that'd be a fight. That'd be feisty, wouldn't it? I'm not too sure. I don't think he's really been involved in management since he left. might maybe have been involved with his club or something of that nature.
No, he's done diddly squad. But I keep saying it to Warren, like God, there's a lot to be said for the punditry. Like it does look so tasty. And then like you get obviously these cases of lads wanted to manage county team, so you've seen in the last couple of weeks. But look, Aaron, it just depends. If you're 9 to 5 job and then you have your games at the weekend, you come home, you don't have to worry about it maybe till that night, and then you're free for the week again. County management every single day of the week. So you know, I think COVID's gave a lot of people a good chance to weigh up their time.
Yeah, like, and but even like putting them, like, even if something you could do is have a manager of the minors or the under-20s or something like that, a bit like Tomas O'Shea, like, so he could build.
I'm amazed he hasn't been bandied about.
Yeah, because he could still, like, I'm pretty sure he could still manage the under-20s and then do punditry as well, like, you know, like, so he could still probably now obviously it's, you know, like he probably doesn't have that much time on his hands, like, but at the same time, it is an interesting shout. And, you know, I mean, like, even Jason Sherlock's obviously another name who's kind of been linked left, right, and
stuff there,
left, right, and centre. I mean, he was linked to Monaghan. Obviously, that hasn't gone through. Yeah, hasn't gone through. Like, I mean, he was managing the Dublin minors there, and it didn't go too well, to be honest. They lost to Longford. You know, but he was obviously heavily involved with Jim Gavin during their 5 in a row, and obviously if you watch the Jason Sherlock documentary, like,
which I did a couple of weeks ago, actually,
yeah, like, he certainly did play a huge role, obviously, in Dublin's 5 in a row. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, could he be an option further down the line? I don't know, but as you said, I think Desi's probably the right man for now.
Yeah, absolutely for now. Like, even we'll touch him on in a second, but even the fact that deal fell through or whatever was happening there, because Jason's name was being bandied about for the last couple of weeks. I don't know how Monaghan didn't close out the deal or whatever the hell was going on there, but I really do feel, like, Sherlock probably will jump into the Dublin things again. But look, it was watershed moment that time, winning the 5 in a row. Very much like Jim Gavin is a kind of sign off on that note, and then let Dublin kind of just, you know, let whoever kind of take on the role now for the next couple of years. But Sherlock, yeah, he'd be a great man to have about the place, but I don't know what happened between that and Monaghan, because how they didn't get it over the line, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Like, obviously Monaghan, your second favorite county. I mean, what's going on? No one wants the job, or they can't seem to get anyone over the line. I mean, could they be going back to Malachy O'Rourke? Could Paddy Tally
Malachi's been talked with Donegal apparently, so we'll have to wait and see with that. Like, with Monaghan, it's a very interesting one. I think it'll be a good job to take, because I think there's probably, as the boys were saying in the group chat the other day, I think there's one more push maybe from McManus and the likes of Darren Hughes, Kieran Hughes, and I really feel like it's probably one more year for a lot of them boys. And I think Monaghan the fans probably will realise Conor McManus can't go on for forever, and we've seen maybe glimpses of McManus coming near the end in some of them big games in the Ulster Championship. So look, I don't know what's really going on in Monaghan, how there hasn't been like a bit of white smoke. And I know, in fairness, I was watching a club game on Cav stream there last night, and one of the pundits was just saying that you know, a lot of counties seem to be rushing, and there is so much time, because, like, you know, it's only starting the club championship, so a lot of counties are thinking, oh God, we need to get lads in. It's only the end of August. County really starts back for a lot of lads at the end of October, November, so there is time, but it's very weird to have closed deals out. But again, Aaron, it keeps referring back to my point: do men have time to manage the inter-county teams at the minute? I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, and it is an interesting one, all right. Like, and as you said there, like, Malachy O'Rourke could potentially be on the way to Donegal. And Rory did say here who would be the new Donegal senior football manager. I mean, I was seeing on Twitter, like, a lot of people calling for Paddy Tally, like, from Donegal, you know, a lot of Donegal fans calling for Paddy Tally maybe to go in there as manager. Like, we've all seen the job he's done since he's come into the Kerry panel. And sort of some of the defensive principles that have been instilled into that Kerry team, you know, maybe they wouldn't have won the All-Ireland if Paddy Tally hadn't have gone in there. Now, it's a hard one to know, because, you know, on one hand side, you'd say, oh, well, he shouldn't leave Kerry because, you know, he's in there, it's a cozy gig, he's, you know, part of the best team in the country. But at the same time, you know, a chance to really put your stamp down as a senior manager. I know he was managing Down there for a couple of years, and obviously Down is probably their own mess at the moment. But, you know, going in Donegal, like, fair enough, he is a Tyrone man, and there is a rivalry between Donegal and Tyrone. But, you know, going into Donegal, you know, a team that is probably going to be thereabouts in the Ulster Championship, like, they might drop off a little bit, but they still have a great team. So, I think it would be a no-brainer personally, but what do you think?
Yeah, like I think the fun thing is with Paddy Tally, it will be very interesting to see what he does end up doing, because obviously you have this thing of, was that All Ireland with Jack O'Connor? I'm presuming Jack will stay on with Kerry next year, but was that the All Ireland to kind of get the show on the road and then some man comes in taking place? Or was Paddy Tally, was that a 1 year project with the Kerry lads? Will him and Jack continue on next year? It'll be I'm presuming Jack will, but will Paddy be there next year? So look, it's an exciting bit of movement. Like, is Paddy Tally a good coach? Is he a good manager? Like, he done an unbelievable job, as blatantly obvious as to see, with the Kerry lads in the defensive back line. So is he a good coach instead of manager? It seems to be that way. So, like, would he be part of a ticket for another county team? Maybe a part of a ticket for a county team for the Donegal lads? Is he the main man? I'm not sure. But by the looks of things at this minute in time, he looks like a very good coach.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's obviously, extremely young as well. Like, he's got plenty of years still, further down the line to make up his decision. And I'm sure he's in no rush. But in terms of the Donegal management in general, like, it's a hard one. As you said, Malachy O'Rourke, you think is going to be the main man there, or what do you reckon?
Well, yeah, there was heavy talk with Rory Kavanagh being the new manager to Donegal lads, and like the lads in our group chat were absolutely convinced it was going to be former Donegal player Rory Kavanagh. But I don't know if there's heavy links with a lot of these lads, and like I know maybe the point I make about maybe time for a lot of lads, but it's just weird if lads are heavily linked. You wonder what kind of happens. Is there just a breakdown in communication? You kind of wonder what's the story, or why are these counties kind of not confirming these things? And don't get me wrong, there is times for a lot of county, and maybe you hope a lot of counties just don't rush into a decision. But it's just there has been no white smoke from these counties. But Rory Kavanagh, again, heavily linked. A lot of lads were saying he's got the job home and hose. Still no confirmation about it. Malachy O'Rourke would be an unbelievable man, I think, for Monaghan football. Again, if he was to come back, he would get so much out of them lads. It's coming near the end. So I think Malachy would be an unbelievable manager for the Monaghan team. But Donegal, he'd be very good with them too as well, because obviously you see the likes of Murphy and McBrearty and someone like McBrearty's not coming near the end at all, but I think he gets so much more out of them lads. And who was it? It was a Marty Kerr who sent to me a few weeks. Donegal's probably not in transition. They just need a bit of a tweak, bit of coaching towards the likes of Ryan McHugh, Michael Murphy, Paddy McBrearty, all these great players, and to be back once again. So Malachy really probably could take either job and get on really well, because he's a fantastic manager.
Yeah, and another county in Ulster who's trying to get back to their best or try and improve anyway, and it's been a bit of a mess obviously there the last couple of years, is Down, and we've seen Conor Laverty go in there. He's obviously been heavily involved with Kilcoo, as we very well know, like as a player, as a coach, and he's obviously been involved with the Down under 20s as well. It's an interesting one, him going in there, because we've seen sort of it's weird with Down. There's always seems to be sort of Kilcoo versus Down, and like they're two, Kilcoo and Down. There's two different things. Some players are playing for Kilcoo, some are playing with Down. Some players are speaking out about the Down, county team and everything else, and just all sorts of madness. But now they've got Conor Laverty in there. Could he be the man maybe to unite Down, maybe get those players on side, get the Kilcoo lads in the team, and maybe Down, if they get those lads in the team in Division 3 next year, maybe they could make a push for something.
Yeah, we'll definitely make a push for promotion, make no doubt about it. It just depends what the Kilcoo lads kind of want to do, because the likes of Paul Devlin, I suppose he is 32 now, and you obviously the Roonies, and then you've obviously the Brannigans as well. So look, I know me and you said it a couple of months ago, but are some of these lads just happy out playing for Kilcoo? Because Kilcoo, but the sounds of it, seems like a county setup, the way they train, the way they apply themselves, so it's probably as good as. So maybe they're just happy with their lot with Kilcoo, like the great Crossmaglen teams in the last couple of years. So it will be interesting to see if he can get them lads in, because I think for the future and benefit of Down football, I think he will need to get them lads in. Laverty is an unbelievable coach by all accounts. I'm hearing unbelievable things about him. Marty Clark, the former Down player, has obviously gone in with Conor, so it's I think Laverty, he will be a sensational addition. He just, as you rightly said, will need to get the boys back. And Caelan Mooney has unfortunately done his ACL again, I think, so he could be out for the middle of 2023, so he'll miss a lot of football next year. But I think he did he opt out for the Talton Cup this year? I think he's a relationship,
yeah. Like, I heard him on Colin Parkinson's podcast, like just a brief clip of him saying that he wouldn't be going back to Down anytime soon. Now, obviously, there must have been some sort of fall now between him and James McCartan.
Disappointing, yeah.
You know, James McCartan obviously no longer the manager, so maybe with someone new in there, he will come back.
Fresh ideas, fresh thinking. 100%. Like it would be good to see a strong Down, because like the likes of Armagh's coming up again. Obviously ourselves, if we can just kind of keep pushing up through the divisions. I think Monaghan seem to be kind of regressing a good lot. You've Donegal there, Tyrone. So it'd be great to see a very strong Ulster. You need a strong Down. Down, as you said numerous times, is an unbelievably good football and tradition county. Last appearance in All-Ireland back in 2010, the likes of Coult and the boys. So look, it'd be great to see a strong Down again. I think Laverty would be brilliant. I think he really would get the lads playing for him. He seems like just such an infectious man. But I think it's not great soundings. I know things probably did go stay with McCartan madly to think, because he's such a legend within Down circles. But whatever happened, but it's just not great when the likes of Mooney's coming out saying X, Y, and Z, the Kilcoo boys saying it during the year from such a proud footballing county. So I really think it's up to Laverty now to just get that pride and just get Down playing good football again, because God help, like there's some unbelievable players.
Yeah, like, and just to think as well, like if Down were competitive and they did, get those lads on board, and maybe Kayla Mooney comes back in for 2024 or whatever, maybe they're back in Division 2, and like it'd be great to see them be competitive, because I mean, like with the Ulster Championship, like it'd be almost as competitive as it's ever been, really, if you were to think about it. Like when you look at Derry, you look at Monaghan,
Derry, of course, too, yeah, Jesus,
Armagh, Donegal, Tyrone, and even yourselves, like, I mean, to be fair, you did win the Ulster Championship in 2020. Like, so, I mean, geez, like Ulster would be fairly competitive. I mean, it would be, you'd be a brave man to predict who would win it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's what I'm kind of saying. Like, it'd be unbelievable. It'd be brilliant to see Down being strong again. And like, it will be so hard to even call Ulster next year. And I know a lot of people are saying Armagh with an early shout. And obviously, we'll touch on Armagh in a couple of seconds, but with their latest news. But no, look, it will be very competitive. You need a strong Down again. And I know the likes of Donal O'Hare and the boys are really trying to keep the show on the road. But look, I think Laverty is the right man to bring that project forward. He will really care about the job. He'll put his heart on the line. He'll put his neck on the line. He has put his neck on the line. It's great to see Marty Clark. Marty Clark even kind of coming in to coach the lads too. So, yeah, in fairness, I think it's like, probably for want of a better phrase, Aaron, it's to kick up the arse Down football needed.
Yeah, and obviously we were mentioning Westmeath earlier, like, and Jack Cooney obviously stepped away. That news broke earlier. In a similar fashion to the Billy Lee sort of news, like with him leaving, like I found that a little bit surprising as well. Like, given the fact that they won a Tailteann Cup. I know he's been there a couple of years and everything else, but age profile seems fairly good there. I know Heslin's maybe getting on a bit, but at the same time, I still think he's got good couple more years in the
Westmeath job's an exciting job. Like, I'm telling you,
yeah, absolutely, yeah. Like, I mean, going into Division 3 where they're probably going to build a bit of a win and run. And even at that, like, they have an All-Ireland place guaranteed with winning the Tailteann Cup. So, Westmeath are in a good position. It's hard to know really who would be the man. Like, you'd nearly think Eamon Murray would be a great shout there.
Desi Dolan, does he just make the step up and manage them now after being part of Cooney's backroom team? That could be a big shout. You have Dennis Glennon there the last couple of years. He could come in as a coach. So look, Westmeath probably won't be stuck, but you could just probably see the transition now of Desi Dolan getting that job. I'm not sure. Like, that's probably from your delight. If Desi maybe did get the Westmeath job, which is much for a lot of our delights, holy moly. But yeah, I think Desi would be a good replacement, Darren, much to your thrilled face.
Yeah, look, I'm sure it would please some family members. All right, they'd be very happy. I'm sure they'd get very excited, and maybe Westmeath for Sam would be a running thing going into next year. But like, in all seriousness, like, like, obviously they won't be competing for the All Ireland or anything like that. But I mean, having won the Tailteann Cup last year, and like you see Ronan O'Toole and Ray Cannell and Sam McCartan, these lads, like, geez, they've got a great team. And even to get an outside man in there, like, geez, like, it would be a good role to go into, I think.
100%. It's funny. Like I was talking to Sam McCarthy a couple of weeks ago, and I probably did watch the Tottenham Cup final back like once or twice. And like Westmeath played some absolutely lovely football in it. Like some unbelievable. Like when you look at their team from 1 to 15, it's a very strong team. The likes of Cannell and McCartan, obviously John Heslin up top, O'Toole. Like they are some sensational footballers. It's kind of like Westmeath don't believe in their own hype, in their own ability. Like I know they got over the line against us, but look, they have some unbelievable footballers. So look, if the right man comes into place there, maybe make a bit of a push in Leinster. Like I know obviously Dublin probably will dictate that now for the next couple of years. It'd be maybe great to see a bit of a change in the guard, obviously with me trying to make a push Kildare. But yeah, it's an exciting prospect for any man to come in there. But you would probably think that Desi Dolan will make the step up.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jack Nolte says here, big loss for Westmeath, but they have good players. They will get someone there, not a bad team. Some GA role he got.
Yeah, development player or something,
yeah, something like that, I think. Yeah. So no, look, fair play. Like it's a great role. And I suppose it's one of them things where, if better opportunities come along, like you're certainly gonna take it. I suppose near to Westmeath is Meath, and we've seen them get Colm O'Rourke again, probably something that has been quite over discussed at this point. But I mean, what's your thoughts on that and him going into that role, like having been out of, never managed at senior level, and like he obviously did a bit of work with his club and everything else, and I think he won a few county titles down there. But he's obviously been heavily involved with the Sunday game and punditry, and he's been certainly sticking his neck out on the line and criticising teams quite a lot down the years. So fair play to him. You have to admire his bottle. Like he could have very well stayed high up in the stands criticising everyone else. But in he goes to the having a few donuts or whatever, he'd just be eating sort of during podcasts and everything else. But look, nonetheless, obviously him going in there as Meath manager, like it's hard to know what he'll actually do there, but at the same time, like fair play, like you can't really discredit it. Like,
oh no, definitely. Like, and it's probably a long time coming, much like Kevin McStay with the Mayo lads. But I think with Mr. O'Rourke, look, I think it's restoring the pride in the jersey again. I'm not sure will they be winning the Leinster Championship next year. Try maybe get a bit of promotion or just get the lads playing for Meath football. Disappointing year this year, weak effort against Dublin in the Leinster Championship, and I think the likes of I'm watching Jordan Morris in the Cavan Club Championship at the minute. He's shooting the absolute lights out for Kingscourt. He's absolutely flying. He's a whiz kid of a player. It's nearly like Kingscourt aren't getting enough out of him, even though he's probably doing a lot by himself. He's brilliant. He's a joy to watch. So the likes of him, he probably will obviously love to learn off Colm O'Rourke and come in. So I just think, Aaron, it's probably just to restore a bit of pride in Meath football. What that is, I am not sure. Is it make them competitive against the likes of Dubs, the Kildares, the Westmeaths of this world, the Leinster Championship? Is it just to get lads back playing for me? Because obviously, I know Andy McEntee did do his best with the Meath lads, and it's a very tough gig to be in. And obviously, the Meath fans do, expect a lot. But it's just, Aaron, at the end of the day, it's probably just to restore that bit of pride, get lads back playing, and look, are they going to be winning the Sams and Leinster? Well, maybe make a push at Leinster, but the Sams of this world, I'm not too sure, because look, that Meath team when O'Rourke was playing, I can't see that being replicated for some time.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and I think the main thing for like his main thing anyway is as manager of Meath has really been, or sort of as player for Meath, or the benchmark was always sort of beating Dublin. And look, I don't think they will be beating Dublin anytime soon. But I do think, I think the main thing is just be competitive. Just, put in a fight, make it a close game. A bit like what they did there 2 years ago when they brought it down to a 3-point game going into extra time. Like, or going into injury time. Just be competitive, like they've plenty of very good players, and like even getting Harry Hogan in goals last year was a good find. And as you said, Jordan Morris is an exceptional player, like Jack O'Connor, their own Jack O'Connor, I suppose you could say, like was looking fairly decent last year. So plenty of good teams. And I think for me, like, main thing is just be competitive, get back up to Division 1. Like it is interesting, all right, because you don't see it obviously as a long-term thing, him going in there as manager. And even with Eamon Murray now being available, like you'd wonder, like he could have maybe went in with the Meath, with the Meath men's team. Like, so it's an interesting one, all right, but I suppose it'd be an intriguing one to keep an eye on with him.
Oh no, like it definitely will. Like, and I think as like I mentioned before, it is probably just trying to get the best out of the likes of these, like Jordan Morris and David McAtee, like some of these lads, just to kind of get them back playing good football for Meath, and just get, as you said a couple of seconds ago, just get the pride back. And I think that's probably what his main job is. Because look, are they going, as I said a couple of seconds ago, are they going to be winning the big titles? I don't think so. It's just to get them back competitive, because look, Meath fans, as you have seen over the years, Aaron, they will not like to be beat by Dublin this year, or so pathetically Croke Park and last couple of years. So look, it's just to get lads hungry for playing for the green and yellow again.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and I mean, ex-Meath manager Andy McEntee obviously going over to Antrim. That was an interesting one as well. Like, I mean, it's kind of crazy really when you see some of these managerial appointments. You're kind of like, oh, that's intriguing, that's interesting.
Don't understand this one at all.
Yeah, like him going to Antrim, like, you know, yeah, I think I'm on the same bracket as you. Then I'm kind of scratching my head a bit with this one.
Yeah, no, I don't understand it. Like, and like, I wouldn't mind. He was off the ball literally a couple of days after. No, only going to be getting involved in Meath football, and I'll not be doing any other gigs. And literally, what is it? A week after that, the news broke about him getting the Antrim gig. So look, I don't know. It's hard to know where Mr. McEntee's head's at. But look, I don't know. I really don't know what's enticing him up there. Our good friend McGurty's been very heavy in his views about Antrim football in the last couple of years since you have him on the podcast. Yeah, I don't know, Aaron. I really don't. I don't know what he can achieve with them. I'm just very surprised after what he said about not being involved in any other county. I don't know what swayed his mind. It's in Belfast. I'm not sure where is he living in Dublin. I don't know. I didn't think too much about it at the time, but it's only until you probably mentioned it now, it probably just sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, like, I mean, and look, like, I haven't been the biggest fan of Andy McEntee down the years, to be perfectly honest. I didn't really enjoy when he went on the Sunday game and was discussing this whole Dublin being split in two. And obviously Pat Gilroy, to be fair, made more of an arse of himself than anything. So Andy McEntee probably came out well, but I just thought it was a very sort of defeatist attitude and everything else. And look, obviously you have a lot of sympathy for Andy McEntee, what he's gone through in his life. Like, he's had a very tough life, and in fairness, like, when you listen to him on the BBC Social, like, your respect goes up for him quite a lot. Like, when you realize what he has gone through, and I do think he was very heavily untreated, or heavily treated badly by Meath County Board and everything else, given everything that kind of kicked on there. But and I think him going into another managerial role, fair enough. But as you said, like with Antrim, like the underage, there's next to no underage coming through there. They've a lot of older lads retiring. It's going to be very tough for them in Division 3 next year. It's hard to really know what the long-term aim is there.
The long-term aim, don't get me wrong, maybe there will be a bit of a bounce. Andy McAtee's coming down to manage us, and is there a bit of a bounce from that? But like, what he can achieve with them, I'm really not sure. I know Enda McGinley did throw his hat in with it for 2 years, and unfortunately didn't get a whole pile back in return. So is it a young person that goes down to Antrim football? Is it someone just with loads of fresh ideas? Is Mr. Andy McEntee the man? Like, does he walk after a year? Like, surely, like, and Mr. McGurty will be able to tell us more about this, but surely the Antrim County Board have to kind of question themselves, like if things don't go right next year, which unfortunately, if there's any Antrim fans watching, don't be surprised, they probably don't, but like, if they don't go right, does he just walk? Like, is he there for the couple of years? It's a tight commute down there. I don't know, have to sort him out with a bit of accommodation for next year. I have no clue, but look, it's probably, the more you talk about it, Aaron, it just sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. And look, who knows, maybe he'll go there and prove us all wrong, and Antrim will do something unthinkable and do well in Division 3. Very, very hard to see that, to be perfectly honest. Especially considering how, the sort of season finished up. Like, obviously they were demolished by ourselves in the Ulster Championship, and even though I predicted Antrim to beat you, which was probably one of my worst predictions ever. But anyways. What else? Yeah, they obviously get knocked out by Leitrim as well in the Cup. So Yeah, I don't know. Like Gavin says here, he got Meath promoted to Division 1. Maybe he could get Antrim to Division 2.
Oh, not a hope, Gavin.
Yeah,
No,
I don't
not
really
a
see it.
hope.
I know they were close enough to promotion last year, but
Nah.
you know, like I just
the way they played against us. The way they played against us in the Ulster Championship, like we were running at them, and one of their quarterbacks, I can't think of his name, was running back instead of forwards. I don't know. No, it's a very, very tough job Mr. McEntee has with them Antrim.
Yeah, and I suppose like some other managerial jobs that are
like,
available.
sorry, Aaron, I'd love to be positive about it, but just to be realistic, I've no clue. Like, I may as well just give my honest opinion to you. You're better off hearing it.
No, absolutely. Like, and I think, you know, I do agree with you as well. Like, I think it is a strange one. Like, there's a lot that probably doesn't really make sense about it. But I mean, some other managerial positions available there, Laois and Longford, I think are the only two we haven't discussed off the top of my head. There might be a few more in there. Like, but I mean, what do you think there? Like, it's obviously it's a very hard one to know. Like, who's kind of going to be, you know, maybe linked with those jobs as we've said. Well, fair enough. Obviously, Jack said there earlier, Paddy Christie's maybe going in there. Like, I don't think that's been officially confirmed yet, but maybe if that's the case. But like Laois, a poison chalice there probably at the minute going down to Division 4. Like, I mean, like it's hard to know really. Like, you know, because from an outsider looking in, you know, like it's probably not a very enticing management job there at the minute, to be honest.
No, it's not. Like, and like it's all well and good. Probably like everything goes with it, but like I think with Laois, even maybe Ross Munley, but he seems to just want to keep playing till he's about 60 at this stage. But if he was to pack his bags, I think he might be a good replacement for who managed, was it Billy Sheehan? He left Laois, wasn't it? Yeah. So Ross Munley might be a good candidate, but look, it's as you rightly said, and as you said at the very start of this podcast, Aaron, if lads are finding it hard to kind of manage counties and the time that goes into it, I just think, and look, don't get me wrong, Longford and Laois definitely will get managers in the coming weeks, make no doubt about it. But it just seems to be, if you're not kind of going to be successful, or if it's too much of a commute, or I don't know, whatever intercounty managers get these days, I just think these jobs just wouldn't seem too fruitful for the big names. So I'm not sure who will be taking them gigs.
Yeah, I was just looking at it there on Google, like, and there doesn't really seem to be any real stories on it, to be fair. Like, so I don't think there's anyone really queuing up. But Liam Kearns is Offaly manager. That's an interesting one. You know, obviously he wasn't the man who won the Munster title with Tipperary, but he did get them to an All-Ireland semi-final, and you know, was quite heavily involved with Tipperary down the years. An intriguing one as well. Like, again, you know, Offaly in Division 3 next year, you'd be expecting them to bounce back and you know, be up thereabouts for promotion. But yeah, like an intriguing one, him going in there. Like, obviously he's a Kerry man as well, off the top of my head. Like, so, you know, like, could he be lining himself up for something in the future? Who knows?
Yeah, like, see, that's what that's why I was very surprised why, I know we touched on Longford a couple of seconds ago, but why Billy did step down from Longford, because it really did look like he was building blocks, he was enjoying it. I know his work, as I said a couple of seconds ago, has took him away from the gig. I know he does, is it American hours he was telling me, or like he does unbelievably long shifts in his job, or time in his job, so that's why he had to step away. But he looked really positive about it. They had a really young team there. He had a really good backroom team, so it just goes to show life happens, Aaron. But yeah, look, I think with the Offaly gig, it's an exciting gig. Obviously, they're huge backing at the minute. You know, obviously competing in the Leinster Championship. I know they'll be in the Total Cup next year, so they could make a real push at the Total Cup next year, Offaly. They were close this year. It'd be very interesting to see, does Niall McNamee stick about? Does he become part of Mr. Kearns' backroom team? We'll wait and see. So Offaly have some very good players. Anton Sullivan is just an extremely good player to watch. The under 20s coming in as well. So it could be fruitful for them next year. They could make a real push at the Total Cup.
Yeah, they definitely could. Like, I mean, well, they could also get promoted from Division 3, like, and they wouldn't be in the Tailteann Cup then. Like, so I suppose it'd be interesting, all right, to see what happens with them. But yeah, I suppose we will go ahead and wrap this one up here. Like, cheers anyone who tuned in. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, make sure to check out the JMac podcast. I'm sure there'll be plenty of podcasts going on and content and all the rest. So yeah, John, cheers for coming on.
No worries at all, my man. And Pork Farley, if you're watching, I hope you're having a great weekend.
Jesus.